Parliament reconvened on Tuesday after a 3-month recess with a call by speakers on members of Parliament to re-evaluate their relationships with the Ghanaian electorate.
Speaker Do Ajaho expressed concern about the public perception of the House and its members. Mr. Ajaho is alarmed by what he described as unsavory comments made about members of Parliament. He announced the establishment of an independent scrutiny office to assist the MPs.
This House will be required to, among other important parliamentary business, consider the 2016 budget and financial policy of government, as well as the appropriation bill. Having regard to the paucity of time at our disposal, I will entreat honourable members to attend upon the business of the House with punctuality and seriousness, both at plenary and in committee, to facilitate consideration of programme business. Honourable members are aware that in recent times, the House has been at the receiving end of uncomplimentary public remarks, which has the potential to impair the image of Parliament. It is unfortunate that these comments are coming in at a time when Parliament has rather opened its doors to the public so as to even more respond to the needs of the citizens. Although honourable members may be disappointed at the current state of affairs, I will appeal to you to consider this development as an invitation to undertake some introspection regarding the effectiveness of your engagement with the public and other stakeholders to prevent such attacks on the House in the future. Honourable members, during the recess, I received the report of the Technical Committee appointed to undertake preparatory work towards the review of the standing orders of the House. I take this opportunity to thank honourable members of the Technical Committee for the several hours they put in to generate proposals for the review. I also take liberty to express the sincere gratitude of this House to Star Ghana for their generous sponsorship of the work of the Technical Committee. A meeting of the Standing Orders Committee will soon be convened to give consideration to proposal for the review and amendment of some of the rules of this House and the appropriate report submitted to the House for consideration and adoption.
And already some members of Parliament, they've started moving into the new Job 600 office complex built for them.
Construction of the building started under the nation's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, but was stalled for several decades until the Mills administration decided to take it up again for use as office accommodation for lawmakers. Here's our colleague, Elton Brobe, who visited the facility. He's come through with this report.
We are now within the premises of Job 600, which is to serve as office complex for members of Parliament. I'm sure you are aware this building was started in 1965, was going to serve as conference grounds for an AU meeting by Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now, after so many postponements, finally, members of Parliament will have access to their offices. And today, we are privileged to be within the premises. The deputy ranking member on the Works and Housing Committee, Justice Joe Appiah.
All members of Parliament should get good offices. As lawmakers, we have to get good offices to do good business for the country. Enacting laws means concentration. Get an office, well equipped so that you can get communication, you can get access to quality information, so that you can be able to address with the facts to, enacting good laws for the country. As a member of Parliament, I'm very happy. The place is a very neat place, and really it gives a lot of sense that MPs will no more do business in their car boots. So I share this office with my colleague Amakun Atta. He's also an MP for Tiwa. So we have this office for one for my secretary, the other one for his secretary, and this is the common office that for visitors.
What is left is the staffing of the offices. I know that the MPs will have one secretary and one research assistant. So ministers and their deputies will have to share offices, while members of parliament will have an office to themselves. The structural engineers have certified it, and then you have very competent international architects working on it with a very, again, renowned construction firm working on it. So as to the integrity of the building in terms of structure, I don't think that there is any doubt whatsoever that it's of sound integrity. We are hoping, in terms of the auditorium, in terms of the documentation center, yes, members of the press can access those and use. In fact, we are trying to ensure that the press corps has access to some of the facilities in the new building.
There's information in town that the top floor, which will house the leadership of Parliament, is quite luxury. I mean, there's talk of even a bedroom, a washroom, and all that. Is that really the case?
I don't know about bedroom. I don't know about bedroom, but I know it's a bigger office than you're occupying now. And the idea is that, I mean, if you take a walk through the leaders, any of the, whether it's Honorable Osei Chairman's or Honorable Bagman's office at the moment, you would find that there are a lot of people there doing all sorts of things.
The General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Kwabena Ejapong, was heckled by the party's private security corps on Tuesday afternoon as he left the party's steering committee meeting.
Mr. Japan went into the meeting to inform the executive of a suit against the suspension of the party's chairman, Paul Afoko. The party has, however, condemned the act and has pledged to fix the General Secretary's vehicle, which was damaged in the process. Deputy Communications Director of the NPP, Perry Okujeto, spoke on Joy News Prime on Tuesday evening.
The office today is this. There was a steering committee called by the acting chairman of the party, Mr. Freddie Blake. The meeting was supposed to commence at 10 a.m. in the morning. Usually in the morning when meetings like this are supposed to come off, you would find that executives who are supposed to attend these meetings arrive, prepare, and then go into the meeting. The General Secretary, Mr. Kwabena Ejapong, came in the morning and then had some discussions with Mr. Blake and other executives to the effect that he had been served an injunction. An interlocutory injunction purporting to bar them or hold them from holding or sitting for the meeting. Our party is a party of lawyers. So they sat down, discussed, looked into the purported injunction, and then took a decision as to whether or not the injunction was binding on them and as to whether or not they could hold their meeting. That's another issue. Beyond that, the General Secretary recused himself because he had been served, he did not want to take part in the meeting. But I think word went round in the morning that Mr. Kwabena Ejapong was going to serve the party with an injunction and further, hold the party ransom, pending the whole issue about the suspension of the national chairman. I think this angered some party folk, and therefore there were some number of people who had trooped to the party office to check whether this was the case.
Well, we'll try and bring you as much from this very incident, especially thoroughly our discussions this morning on the show. And so please do stay on. We'll like to bring you a lot more as far as we're concerned. Now we have to speak a lot more language of business.
And the Association of Ghana Industries, the AGI, has emphasized the need to educate businesses in the country to enter into partnerships and joint ventures. And the chief executive of the AGI, Sechu Makwabwa, said partnerships add value and would be helpful in helping businesses in the country across international boundaries.
See the private sector as a very important aspect of our development, and as was presented right from the onset, and the chairman even indicated that if you look at the independence of Ghana, the fight, those behind the fight for independence, the whole fight was funded by the private sector. So private sector has always been very key in our development process. The question is, have we grown the way we expected? We had lots of private sector businesses that one would expect that today they would have become big multinationals with branches all over Africa, branches all over the world. Are we experiencing that? I think the answer is no, because we have not grown the way we should. Is it because we have not taken advantage of the opportunities that have been open to us? Is it because we have not managed our businesses properly? We think that individual companies sometimes have very small capital and therefore cannot do the kind of business that would enable them to enjoy economies of scale. So partnerships and joint ventures are very important. That is not happening very well in the private sector. So that's one issue that we have to look at.
Meanwhile, an entrepreneur is asking the private sector to stop complaining about difficult economic conditions locally and step up efforts to grow their businesses.
Senior partner of AB and David Ofosu-Dorte says this is the only way Ghana's private sector can break through local barriers and succeed in the international market. Speaking at an AGI public forum on business competitiveness, Mr. Ofosu-Dorte says the local enterprises can do better if they stop relying on government support.
The businesses who have scaled up today in Ghana, and I mentioned a few, I mentioned Kasapreko as an example, being present in Nigeria. The businesses who have scaled up and managed to succeed, this so in the midst of the challenges that they faced. And once you are able to take that action, you can then galvanize support through other members of the sector to which you belong and see how best you can influence government policy. Because I also advocated that the private sector should lobby. What I am not in support of is for the private sector simply to fold its arms and say, we are waiting for government, we are waiting for government. That's what is happening. That's the change that I'm calling for. If we do not ensure that indigenous enterprises will overcome the challenges that they face and they keep waiting for government, what will happen is that because of the trend of globalization, foreign enterprises who are already competitive in their jurisdictions will enter the country, and they are already entering the country, and they will outcompete, for want of a better word, local enterprises. So I'm asking local enterprises not to be pointing blame, but to begin to take action to be able to scale up and grow their own enterprises so that they can compete with any enterprise that comes from outside. We cannot stop the trend of globalization, whether you like it or not, but we can compete.
We'll have to still remain on the economy because over 100 micro and small enterprises in the northern, Budahafu and central regions are to benefit from the National Kaizen Project.
The project offered by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries and the Japan International Cooperation Agency will help strengthen the capacities of these businesses and boost their productivity.
The Kaizen technique developed by the Japanese is for quality and productivity improvement in businesses.
Kaizen is a worldwide applied method to improve productivity of the factory and the company. And like Toyota and Nissan or Honda or Sony or Panasonic, from the certain long time ago introduced this special method and then can strengthen the competitiveness and then export a lot of things to all the world. Even this country that we can see, the Toyota, which is based on the Kaizen method used in this project.
The first phase of the Kaizen project was piloted in the Ashanti region between April 2012 and March 2015. It successfully assisted about 36 micro and small enterprises in the region and 11 head trainers, leading to its expansion to 3 other regions in the country.
Looking at targeting about 100 and 120 businesses in the first phase of the National Expansion Program. The National Expansion Program will be carried out in 3 phases. Each phase would cover 3 regions. This first phase of the National Expansion exercise would cover Northern Region, Brong-Ahafo Region, and the Central Region. And throughout these regions, we are targeting 2 main categories of beneficiaries. The first one being the staff of the National Board for Small-Scale Industries, who man our district offices that is called the Business Advisory Centers. And also the second target, who are the main beneficiaries, are the small businesses. And we are targeting not less than 120 small businesses in these 3 regions to directly benefit from this particular program. However, because our officers are going to be part of the training programs, they are intended also transferred the skill and the knowledge to other businesses who may not directly benefit from this phase of the expansion exercise.
The Kaizen project is targeted at growth-oriented rural and MSMEs in agro-processing and other manufacturing enterprises.
And that'll be it for the news. In the meantime, though, we've had some of your comments, and at the start of the show, we said if you have any piece of motivation, please make sure you send that to our WhatsApp number.
What's the number?
0560
Oh,
800,000.
Okay, finally.
Very easy for me to do.
All right, we've got a friend who's watching somewhere in the US who sent this. There's no finish line in the world. Discover your talent and skills and put a little, more like apply a little, and there will be success. Thank you. You don't include your name, but I'm sure you know who typed it. You know your words. So
okay.
That's it. It's a beautiful motivation, by the way.
That'll be it for the news, though. But next, we're going to look at what the headlines are. And you can just see just behind us on the screen. Daily Guide, the Crusading Guide, etc. So we're going to bring you a summary of what the stories are on the front and back pages of the newspapers. But because we're technologically inclined, we bring you the summaries via the best e-learning platforms you can have. And it's courtesy, the news portal, myjoyonline.com. So do stay on. We'll be right back.
Yeah.